wish me luck. Right?
All right, good luck.
Go back a little bit. Where did you guys started out in Tucson, right?
Yep.
I sat in a bar here. I don't know if you remember this bar called Nita's Hideaway.
Oh yeah.
So that might have been the last time I saw you guys play. And the bar closed. Somehow I managed to sit at the bar, and you guys were still sitting there. And I asked you the whole story of how did it end up that you guys went to Seattle, and maybe you can tell me that story again. I think it was Dan Bolton who told me the story.
Oh yeah.
But, it might have been, I don't know if it was the whole story, but how did that turn out?
Well, we knew we wanted to leave Tucson when we formed the band. That was a goal. We were gonna get out of Tucson. The obvious place to go for every band in Tucson is LA.
Okay.
So we were being the contrarians that we are, and we didn't want to go to LA.
What year is this?
This is 88.
88. Okay, so it's okay.
Yeah, so this is a long time ago.
So that's when LA was the place to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So
LA was
not
definitely
Seattle,
the place to
not
go.
Austin.
In Seattle, nobody knew what Seattle was.
Yeah.
Or that anything was going to be from there, other than Hart was from there and Jimi Hendrix was there for a little while. But we wound up choosing between Seattle and New Orleans, simply because we knew a guy that moved to Seattle, and he told us we could wear our leather jackets there into June, and that sounded appealing.
For fashion, I mean, or just like
what's that?
Just for purely fashion, or
just to look cool, right? Yeah, and then New Orleans, we just thought it sounded like a cool place to go.
Yeah.
With voodoo and all that shit.
Yeah.
So, and we wound up flipping a coin, as we decided everything back in those days, and a coin flip or some sort of gambling of some sort. So we flipped a coin between Seattle and New Orleans, and landed on Seattle, and so we went.
So sometimes luck has something to do with it, a little bit of
Totally.
serendipity. Right?
Yeah.
But then the Sub Pop deal.
Right, we moved up to Seattle thinking we'd be the best band anybody had ever seen up there, because who's from Seattle?
Okay.
And we get there, and there's all these great bands already
You're like, holy shit.
thriving. Nirvana's already going,
Yeah.
Soundgarden's already going, Mudhoney's already going. All these great bands are already going on, and we're like, shit, we're not only not the best band here, we're like way below.
We need to write some new songs right
Yeah,
away.
exactly. And we wound up rewriting everything. We had a bunch of songs we went up there with, and I wound up writing a whole bunch of new songs and got Sub Pop interested, and one thing led to another, and here we are almost 30 years later.
The first time I saw you was in Vancouver, up in Canada. You guys opened for Mudhoney at the Commodore Ballroom. I think it was 1991. So I didn't know you guys at the time then, and I was like just waiting for the next band. And then that was the highlight of the show, actually, because the songs are so short, and you can kind of just understand it right off the bat what is going on here. And
Right.
So yeah, everybody made a big impression.
Right on.
Now, it's not all. I believe you guys covered a AC/DC song. It's a Long Way to the Top.
Yep, we did.
And I think that pretty much sums up what we're getting into now, which is this adversity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What is your take on this? I don't know if you-
Well, it's definitely a long way to the top, and for us, we've never even took a whiff at the top. We've been down here in the bottom since we started, and I just feel like it's not the goal when you start out a band. Your goal isn't to become this indie little cult darling that bands love and a few fans like a lot, but you don't really sell a lot of records, or
Was your goal to make a career out of it, or to make a living, or to just have fun, or like?
Yeah, the goal was to be like Van Halen-sized Enormous,
Right, yeah.
playing the Normo Dome and selling it out, and having the rock star life and
Money
all that
for
sort of
nothing,
stuff.
chicks
Right,
for free.
exactly. So that was the goal, and then after you realize that's not going to happen, you kind of realign your goals, and you realize that the craft of making up the songs is really what it's all about. I mean, that's what it became for me.
More of a passion than a vehicle.
Right, exactly. Like, now I'm moved by people who make up really good songs, or, totally rock in a way that I haven't heard before, or, that's the motivation for me now to keep going, is to, just to prove that we're quality. I feel like what we do is as good as anybody out there. I feel like we're as good as the Foo Fighters, and we're as good as U2, and we're as, we're as good as anybody.
Put on a great show.
Yeah, and we put on a great
Every
show.
night.
Yeah, exactly. And we never let up, and we're always out there working hard, and we load our own gear and sell our own merch.
Yeah.
And,
It should have helped him actually.
It's hard, so it's not for pussies.
Definitely not.
This line of work that we do is not for pussies.
Now, you started, is Midfi your own label, or what happened?
Yeah,
What is that?
It was an imprint that we were using to put out our records for a little while, but it proved to be, when people stopped buying records in the middle of 2004 or whatever it was.
But was that like a little bit of on the creative side, but then was that a little bit of like an entrepreneurial flair or
the goal was to have like a real label where we would sign other bands and be like a little
do
thing.
all the marketing and everything like that. Okay.
But it became financially impossible when people stopped buying the product,
And there was kind of a gap between like the resurgence, right? Like there was a long time of free shit, and then now it's like there's a little bit of a chance to get that back because people buy that again, but it's been quite a long time.
Yeah.
So, now, the big question on the adversity side would be your battle with cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that something that you are comfortable talking about? Or?
Totally, yeah.
Okay, cool. Tell me something about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy to get diagnosed. I mean, when you get diagnosed with something like that, you're like, no, that can't be right. I feel fine. I felt 100% fine when I got diagnosed. I just had this lump on the side of my neck. Yeah. I was just like, take off the lump and let me get back to work. And they couldn't because it was all connected to like this cancerous tumor that was on my tonsil. And it was scary because I thought, this is in my throat and that's how I make my money, and so I just, was worried about all that and wound up going to see a real specialist in the field. And
out in LA, right?
Yeah, at the City of Hope in LA. So, and luckily I got hooked up with them through Eddie Vedder, who took a shine to the situation and intervened, in a cool way, and said, look, this is your voice we're talking about here, dude. You're going to need to go somewhere better than where you're going to go right now. And so I pulled out of the plan that I was in and went to the City of Hope, which wound up being a really good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, talk about adversity. It's...
Well, that and the Airstream fiasco.
The Airstream crash.
I've been following along.
That year, the same year that I got diagnosed with cancer, the Airstream crash that we planned on having the family tour with the band for the year, and that went up in smoke in like 8 days. We were out on the road for like 8 days when that...
It was completely renovated, like pretty wicked on the inside.
Yeah, it was super badass.
But the main thing, I guess, would be that nobody even got injured, right?
No, nobody even got injured, Yeah, it was kind of a miraculous thing. And then my wife this year just got diagnosed with all these pulmonary embolisms, and it's been a rough road for us for a couple of years now. I'm hoping that's it. That's 3, right? There's bad things come in 3s.
And then good things after that.
Right, so we're hoping for good things now.
Any sort of plans for, I don't know, any more, like going back to the record label or the producing or any sort of, I don't know, business side of it, or are you purely focused on the art side of it?
Well, I really like producing records. I recently produced this record by this band Rhino Bucket.
Okay.
And it's such a great record, and I'm so proud of it, and I would like to do more of that. I feel like I really know how to make a good rock and roll record. I know exactly what to do when you get in the studio. I know.
You've done it before, right?
I've done it a few times, right. I know when it sounds right, I know when it sounds wrong, and I'm not going to judge everybody's songs, but I'll make the songs as good as they can possibly be. And so, I feel like that's a forte of mine that I need to exploit a little more. But as far as running a label goes, that ship has sailed.
Yeah. So now it's more about maybe a Rick Rubin project.
Right.
Got the beard ready to go.
I'll be the Rick Rubin. Yeah. Exactly.
So, and then anything else that I don't know, you feel that needs to get out there about what you guys are up to? And
just know that when you see the SuperSuckers name on the door, there's some hard-working, ass-kicking mother scratchers in there doing their best to give you some good quality rock and roll entertainment. And it's a good idea to come and spend your entertainment dollars at the SuperSuckers show.
It's only $13. Like, come on.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not that bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right,
It's not
man.
like it's a $60 ticket or whatever.
Well, it should be. Cause
It ought to be. I'm thinking we should charge that much for our T-shirts. I go to an AC/DC concert, they're charging like $80 for a T-shirt, you know, and I'm like, that's how much we should charge for our T-shirts. If they're charging that,
Just get some special,
ours should be
super
exactly the
special
same.
designs that you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
Print them on some, maybe some polyester leisure type stuff.
Yeah, right.
From the thrift store.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, I think you've got to get to your sound check.
Yes, thank you
Thanks
so
for your
much,
time.
man.
I'll see you later when I get back here to watch the rock show.
Right on.
All right. Cheers.
It'll be good. Thanks, man.